deliberate misspelling, but it doesn't matter. I can correct it if you whatever. I just like to doodle, but I'll get to the main point of the thing. So the bookshop and the apartments look like Lego in the courtyard through the window. Anyway, never mind. Um, yeah, I was just interested in that because of the A word, I guess, and then I thought, is there any point because of the world blowing up or whatever? But I don't know. Yeah, it's not good to get to that point where you just resigned. So, is there any point? I don't know. But the normal people interest would be so that they could use the information to get the 9 till 5 and then whatever, whereas I'm interested in the information for knowledge purposes because the knowledge is fascinating. So the big difference there. So yeah, deliberate misspelling because I don't know, I like to doodle, but yeah, is there any point? And then metaphysically, non-physically, etc. You would say uh, faith and trust, maybe, you know. So you have to trust because even during peacetime, you don't know really if you know there'll be an accident or whatever there'll be. On the individual, on the small scale, you don't know. On the large scale, yeah, there's peacetime, but on the solo scales as an individual person, something might happen where the general culture might be safe, but something might happen to you specifically. So you never really know. So I think it's trust, faith, religiosity, spiritual, non-rigid religion, not necessarily this organized, rigid, puritanical, Pharisaical kind of thing, but more like some kind of faith in something, kind of idea, metaphysical and etc. To live is an act of faith. To repeat that famous quote, But is there any point? And then, if you were the physicalist, radical materialist, you'd probably say no because of the war being on. But you would say, if you were more metaphysically inclined, that anything can happen anyway, even during peacetime. So I don't know. Spiritual report card, as J.A.W. would say, the Egyptologist. So me studying that, maybe a religious brownie points. I have no idea. You know what I mean? It's like in maths, the working out points. It's not necessarily just the right answer, it's the working out points. And I think the same applies to J.A.W.'s concept of a spiritual report card. It's not necessarily the perfect answer, it's the working out points that's important. So that can connect to that. And then, so yeah, trust, faith, etc. Um, and then, I don't know if that's regression, just the physics, the SUVAT or UVAST, and then the formulae and the which obviously AE, very Latin, ancient Rome language, and I don't know, just kind of I never really got my head around that because obviously I've got both dyscalculic and dyslexic, so I had a fun time, every disadvantage, social learning, every type of, so that others didn't necessarily have, so that was not really a fair competition, but never mind, we won't go on. It's just made me, I don't know, think about, I don't know, regressed into backwardness, I don't know. As I say, it's a whole different experience if you're dyscalculic than if you're non-DC, very different. So yeah, but I don't know, whatever. Who cares anymore? It's all gone belly up, hasn't it? So it doesn't really matter. So yeah, probably end up possibly getting that, but definitely investigating the idea of it. Just write that in English instead of, yeah, there we go. And then there's also the Grey's Anatomy flashcards, which I thinking about, and the main book is like 49, 48 or something. But yeah, it's something to think about. There is four. There's the and then the Parai Beetle. Probably pronouncing it wrong, but never mind. It just helps me remember if I say it in that way. So there's the four basic things of anatomy: Western medicine. Yeah. What else? So yeah. Book, investigate book, Western medicine. Is there a point because the whole flipping world's gone down the toilet? But I don't know. At that point, you could say, what's the even point of getting out of bed? And maybe you'd be right. I don't know, but you could end up where you just have to sit still in the corner forever, which is pretty depressing. So, but you have to get on with something. So I don't know, or maybe not. I don't know, but it's not fun if you just sit in the corner permanently. But yeah, what was that? Courtyard. And yeah. Let's. So, what's the main idea of this thing? Oh yeah, keeping the mind active and keeping the interest, and not just giving up hope and absolutely doing nothing. Faith, trust and faith. F plus T equals trust and faith. But I've failed that a million times, so whatever. But yeah, it doesn't matter anymore, does it? It's not. I was going to say it's not the end of the world, but that's a bad phrase to use at the moment. Anyway, so yes, in the courtyard, through the window of the coffee shop, they do look like Lego. The flats look like it, but yes. To talk about resistance work, is there any point? I will spend 3 seconds talking about this, or 3 non-literal seconds. So there's this kind of just to in slight response to what Morgoth was saying, I think that there is this weird, and I don't know if it's a CO controlled op, I don't know what. I don't know what it is, or if people have just lost their minds in both, even in the resistance. But there is certain elements of resistance pockets that's just gone as mental as the mainstream, and like, so like, if for example, if JP said that 3 + 3 is 6, they'd all just say no because he's a whatever, an agent. So 3 + 3, if he says 3 + 3 is 6, it's wrong, does it? Just this clownish, just like the mainstream circles. It's just this bizarre. I don't know if the whole power structure's just driven everyone loony bin, whether left or right. I don't know, but I'm noticing a thing even in the resistance of that, where it's just this bit clownish behaviour, where it's not so much whether truth was said, it seems to matter who said it, which doesn't make any sense to me. It's anti-logos, but yeah. If it's true, it's true. It doesn't really matter if a lefty or a righty said it, or a centrist or a diagonalist. It does not matter. It's true or it's not, kind of thing. But and you can certainly investigate the Eastern side and the more feministic side and Eastern philosophy and the more relativity kind of thing. But definitely the logos, the Western logos, is in. Anyway, it doesn't really matter who said it, matters whether it's true. But as far as I'm concerned, anyway, in my autistic opinion. Or I to put it as symbol for IMAM. But yeah. So that's just that weird sort of corner of resistance has gone a bit loony bin, but again, whether it's a CO, I don't know. It's hard to kind of know unless they're directly in it. It could be a flipping hologram or CGI. It's whatever. Let's just worry about the box, shall we? And the small resistance work you can do. Just to move on to the Woodlander, and just to say about the generator that I've no so there's the A word, the non-physical disability, then there's the no job because of partly the non-physical disability and partly the economic corruption. Then there's the because can't afford the home because of the non-phys, because of the autism and the economic corruption, and can't get the job to afford the car or a home to put any in, so I have not much space to put any in, so I don't necessarily have huge amount of space for a generator, so I'm kind of, if off system or system down. So what am I, I can only do small things, I can do bushcraft or wood fire, I can do things with skills maybe, in terms of having a large amount of areas to put in, that's probably not. But yeah, I don't know, I've got some skills, I guess, tiny skills, but for off system, but I don't have huge cabin with huge backup system. I just don't have the money or the space, the area space, so I'll have to try and think about that, I guess, and then never mind. And also, I suppose if you're a creative person, you kind of, even if you bemoan civilization, I suppose you need it because you need it to be a creator, because under survivalist scenario, all your time's taken up with survivalist activity, whereas, so it's hard to do the creative job, and do both, that's hard, but so you kind of need it even if you bemoan, I suppose. I don't know, it's a very complicated contradiction, but mine would have been martial arts and building the dojo, so if you had, I suppose, a final list of very important stuff, it would be I suppose that would be my job. Whether it will be restoring certain above in a town, some large room above building in town, those speculation buildings. You could uncorrupt the speculators, which would be hard, because sheep will go along with everything. Because again, it's like a tsunami. But if it was a final list, if you could have three things like a bronze, silver, gold, then it would probably be here, and then this will be my job. And 3 is treble question mark, really, because I don't know anymore. I'll think of something, but probably building that, and have multiple systems. You could have HEMA, WMA, Western fencing, Western boxing, no-gi, Ludo, BJJ, etc. I'd like to just cross-examine the different systems, Kung Fu, TCMA, traditional Chinese martial art, things like that. But yeah, just cross-examine, more sort of study and practice kind of thing, like a multidisciplinary, so like a theoretic study, academic approach plus physical approach kind of thing. I suppose a bit like Dr. Yang Ming's approach to TCMA into comfort. Anyway, yeah. So, if you have an emergency list of things because everything else is going out the window and you can't think of thousands of things and you've got 5 minutes left to think about something, then I suppose that would be, emergency list, I guess you would say, if you like. So there you go, it brings out with you the what you really find important, I suppose. So yeah. But yeah, there's not much space to put stuff for system down and off system.